Today's project is a mess. I know what I've gotten myself into on this one. But the truth is, I just love this style of furniture and a lot of people own it. So I find it really helpful to show people what you can do with this stuff. I mean, furniture is expensive these days, so let's keep it out of the trash and figure out how to make it look really cool, on trend. So hang around and see if I can tackle this guy. Today's flip is a dumpster dive rescue, and it's also my favorite price, free. I really want to save these handles, but it looks like somebody's let their dog chew on them. So I don't know if they're going to be salvageable. So the first thing I'm going to do is take them off and get this whole piece scrubbed down and clean. And then I'm going to have to figure out if I'm going to be able to keep these or not. And since this is a roadside find, I'm going to give this a really good clean with some simple green and my scrubbing brush. I was really hoping to do a two-tone effect on this, but I don't know what I'm going to be able to do considering that most of this is particle board. So I've got my orbital sander out today. I've got a 120 grit sanding disc on this. I'm going to get through what I can on this top and kind of see what's under here and what I can do with it. Now this next step is totally optional, but between you and me, I think I'm gonna make a pretty good profit on this one, so I'm gonna take the extra step. I'm gonna use some Drydex and fill in all the wood grain that's just on the top. I'm not gonna do the drawers and things like that, so that when I paint this portion of it, it looks like it's nice and flat and the paint doesn't go in between the wood grains, just so it just looks a little more seamless and a little more finished. To do this step, I'll use my trowel. The first thing that you want to do is make sure you're starting with a clean surface. Then you'll go in the opposite direction of the wood grain, and then your final passes will be to just take off the extra, like kind of do a skim coat and go in the direction of the wood grain. So you make sure that with the passes that you do in the opposite direction of the wood grain, that you're really shoving that Drydex down into all the crevices. We're gonna let this step dry and let me introduce you to today's sponsor. I am thrilled to share today's sponsor with you guys for a few reasons, and mainly just because since I've been in my 40s, I've been trying really hard to find ways to keep that dewy glow and that firmness in my skin. And that's where the Foreo Luna 4 comes into play. The Luna 4 uses T-sonic pulsations and a velvety soft silicone to help remove impurities and trapped dirt deep within my pores. And if you're somebody like me that has some really dirty pores in their T-zone, you're gonna love this product. It literally takes me 1 minute a day to do this to get a refreshing cleanse. The Luna 4 has 3 modes to it: normal, sensitive, and combination. I've got mine set to sensitive since I have really dry skin. I also love that the massage side of this helps my serums absorb so much better, and it has different guided massage settings. I like to do the one that's for my eyes. It helps to reduce fine lines and sagging, relax any tension points, and improve lymphatic drainage. Really helps target those visible signs of aging, which is exactly what I'm trying to combat. It's like a mini facial right in the comfort of your home, and I love this after a long day in the garage, after getting my skin really gross and dirty with all the sanding and the paint, or if I'm getting camera ready in the morning to shoot some film. This just helps me keep that nice dewy glowy look. Be sure to check out the Foreo Luna 4 by clicking the link below in my description, and you can tell by all the fabulous reviews on this product that this is a skincare game changer. You're gonna love it as much as I love mine. Now that my dry decks is drying on the top of the dresser, I'm gonna focus my attention onto the drawers. And since I'm gonna do sort of a two-toned look with this, I'm gonna take a few of them down to bare wood. I'll use my orbital sander with a 180 grit sanding pad on them to get around these drawers. Oops, sorry, my compressor kicked on at that last minute there. But these drawers are solid pine, so it didn't take very much work for my sander to get through the remaining finish that was on there. The finish was already failing, so it was pretty quick work to bust through the rest of it. I switched from my orbital sander to my surf prep just to get into all these nooks and crannies in the drawer. And now that the dry decks is completely dry, I'll go back in with my sander just for one final pass to make sure I get all the extra that I don't need off of the top. Now you can really see what our dry decks did, and it just hides all of that wood grain so that it looks nice and smooth when you add your paint to the top. Now we can finally get to the painting. All the work is in the prep, I tell you what, but if it's not prepped right, your paint's not gonna look right. So I did all the extra steps just so we can have a really nice finish at the end. So what I'm gonna do now is, since I'm going for a two-toned look, I'm kind of splitting this dresser in half-ish, 3/4 and 1/4. So the 1/4 portion over here, I'm going to do some raw wood look on and use a paint wash on, but I've got some heavy staining still left on the top. So I'm going to opt for more paint and a little less water in my paint wash, and I'll show you what I'm talking about in just a minute. But I'm gonna get this taped off so my line is perfect, and then we'll start the paint wash. Now that my tape is nice and secure, I'm going to mix up my paint wash. I'm using some tan paint that I have left over, 50% water, 50% paint, so it's a little heavier on the paint side. This acts a little bit like a stain, but doesn't allow as much wood grain to show through, which is exactly what I'm going for. I'll apply this with a large brush, let it sit for just a few minutes on the surface, and then wipe it back with a lint-free rag. So I had a sneaky suspicion that this one was gonna bleed. I kind of knew it from the start, but if I'm being honest with you, I was like, it's gonna be fine, it's gonna be fine. And then I was like, no, if you don't do this, you're gonna skip a step. So I backed up, I came back out, I shellacked everything. It's got 2 coats of shellac on it. I specifically did not like the way that this part was looking once I hit it with the paint. And so I decided to give myself a few more hours on this project and just go ahead and seal it up so I didn't have any bleed through whatsoever. So now that this is ready, it's been shellacked, I shouldn't have any more bleed through issues. I'm gonna finish off putting the paint wash on the drawers and do the second coat on the top. Oh, the handles. I looked far and wide and couldn't find anything that I liked better than these. So I decided I'm going to do my best to try to salvage these, even the ones that the dogs have eaten. First thing though, I need to get these gold strips out of here. I'm using my upholstery tools. I don't like the gold strips, plus they're missing on some of the handles, so they have to go anyways. My paint wash has had plenty of time to dry, so I'm going to take off the tape, but I need to wrap it in plastic so that it's covered from what I'm going to do to the rest of the dresser. I've got my favorite black paint from Sherwin in the color Caviar loaded into my HVLP sprayer, and we're ready to go. The top is taped off, and you best believe I'm holding my breath the whole time to make sure that this line comes out perfectly. I'll let this coat dry for about 3 hours, and then I'll come back in with a second coat. I ended up doing 3 coats total on this dresser for full coverage. This dresser was a little too short for me, so I ordered some legs just to give it a little bit of height. I used my Caviar paint to paint the legs and the handles black to match the dresser. And I'll paint wash the handles to match the side that has the paint wash on it. The underneath of the dresser had plenty of built-in support, so all Chris had to do was put in the mounting plates so we could screw in the legs. And you best believe I was holding my breath the whole time I peeled off this tape. If you do this trick, you want to make sure that you go really slowly so you don't take off any of your finishes. To finish the top of this, I'm going to be using the Real Milk Paint's Wood Wax. Now, the black paint already has a built-in top coat, but the paint wash doesn't, so I've got to make sure that I'm protecting the paint wash part. And now that my hardware is dry, it's time to get these reinstalled. I am so glad that these turned out nice after all, and I was able to save them. I love the way they look on this dresser. I am so excited to show you what this dumpster dive find looks like now. You won't believe what this guy turned into. Wow, you guys, today's flip was so much fun. I absolutely love the finished look on this, and it's always amazing to me what you can do with somebody else's trash. I've got a feeling that this is going to fetch a pretty good profit for me when I list this one up for sale. Let me know what you think I should sell this one for, and be sure to hit that subscribe button because when it sells, I'll post over in my community page how much I sold it for. Don't forget to check out the link below for the Freya Luna 4. I've been using this now for over 30 days and I love the differences that it's making in my skin. You will love it as much as I do. I've attached a video of my most profitable flip from 2023 on the screen. Be sure to check that out next, and I'll see you soon at Lemons to Lemonade Furniture.